One from the public. Adjustments is next on the agenda, Jeannie. All righty. Next is the consent agenda. We have 5 items there, including minutes, financial reports, tax collector, a survey of the wage rate scales is back on the agenda this time, and approving attendance and expenses for trustee business and regular directors. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Yep. I'll second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next is regular agenda. Discuss appointment a new director to fill the vacancy on the board and authorize any action necessary in connection therewith. So you
First of all, I passed around a notice that we have prepared, a draft notice regarding Brandon's passing. And I did get feedback from his wife, Barbara, that she's good with this if the board would like to send this out to the residents.
Oh, beautiful. Well, that's important that she's pleased with it. And I think that's a good idea. So in 73, Paul graduated from SUNY with a bachelor's degree in political science. Paul had an accomplished career in management with 40 years in the financial industry. As a longtime member of the Woodlands Country Club, he golfed and enjoyed that through his retirement. Later in life, he found his passion and interest in serving on Mud 47. He was elected to Mud 47 in May of 2012. He also served on the Board of Trustees and an alternate board member from, as an alternate, he was a full-on Board of Trustee.
He was both during that
Okay.
period, alternate for some of that time and a trustee for some.
Okay. His current term would run until May of 24. With his banking background, Paul kept a sharp eye on financial aspects of Mud 47. When the idea of investing $18 million for a Woodlands-wide water meter upgrade was first introduced, he was a skeptic with many questions. As the project evolved into a customer-centered technology allowing residents to monitor and control usage, receive leak alerts, and gain confidence in the accuracy of their water bill, he became a valuable advocate for the meter upgrade. That's beautiful. His tenacity for reviewing financial and contract details served Mud 47 residents well. He will be missed. That's a great job, guys. All right. So I have a motion that we send that email out to all Mud 47 residents.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Now further on this agenda item, about filling the vacancy. So we've done the email. What we need to do now is find people in the community. So start asking around, and after this goes out, we'll wait a spell. And then we'll send out a notice asking if anyone's interested. So yeah, go ahead.
I don't remember if this was discussed or not. Is there a deadline we need to have this done by?
Well, no, not that we need to.
Okay.
But
Last meeting, they said we didn't need to fill it if we didn't want to either.
Yeah.
I would like
I
to.
would think it would be good.
Well, because then I thought we have 2 and 2.
Yeah, it's typically like 1-5. I do this to one board that's 4, but it's easier to make decisions with 5.
I would like to. I would like to self-impose a deadline for us, like, so we're in March now, it's High Day. And let's say we say, okay, let's have everyone submit whatever they want to, whether it be a resume or just an email stating their interest. Let the candidates do whatever they want to do, because I don't want it to be like a homework assignment and any kind of hoops to run through. We didn't have to go through that. We had to run for election. So we'd set a deadline for them to get their, whatever their, to let us know of their interest in being appointed to the board. And then we would have a monthly meeting where we could, as Brian described last month, to go into closed session and freely discuss it. And then our vote would be out in the public. Anyway, that's where I see happening. So if we say that we close the window to submit applications end of April, And then our May meeting, we could
Okay.
have we could do the
Yeah.
decision.
Okay.
And that way the person could serve a year before they have to run for election, decide whether they want to do that again. Sound good?
Yes.
Okay, so
So do
end
we,
of April.
do we submit people to you, or is this that we just kind of put this in for discussion at our next meeting, or how do we circulate it amongst ourselves?
I think we could send it to Shelley, right, Shelley? We could send her candidates'
Shelley.
names. Yeah, send Shelley candidates' names and any material that they would have. And then she'll put it in the board packet. Like in the past, I recall, we had a few candidates. Jen Ronk was appointed. She was the last one, and you were on the board then, right? No?
She was already here.
Oh, okay. So I remember that meeting.
Yes.
Anyway.
You can tell us anything you want because we got nothing to verify this.
There were other people that applied and they all showed up and, or not all of them, but quite a few did. And some of them stood up and made a statement. They all had a resume or something like that in the packet. And then we made the choice and General got appointed then. So I see it happening similarly. I mean, the one resident that was always commenting about it was pleased that we slowed it down. We accepted various different applications and that we appointed instead of just picking one of our friends, you know. So anyway, I have talked with 3 people that are interested so far. So that's good. Hopefully we get a few more and we have a really good.
Probably the same one that approached me.
Yeah. I
Okay.
think one of them at least is.
Okay, because I had one, and he's like, what's the procedure for doing this? And I was like,
We don't know. It's up to us, really. I mean,
really? And I was like, here's Laura's phone number, call her.
yeah, we talked for a while.
Okay,
So, all right, so end of April will be our deadline for
Right.
people expressing an interest. I'll get it in the May packet and we'll make a vote that night and put it on the agenda.
okay,
And Shelley's basically taking care
all right.
of that. All right, thank you.
Send to Shelley.
All right, next on the agenda is received SJRA Woodlands Division report.
Hi, good evening. Join you guys this evening. I did pass out earlier. There was a correction to the monthly operating report in your packet. The one in that's stapled is the correct one. It affected the graph on page 1 and then the chart on page 2. We also gave you a summary of the updates I'm going over. In terms of the infrastructure funding, we have no update this month for you guys. For the Bear Branch Dam, we're still working or coordinating with Quinn Shaw for the appropriation of the dam flooring replacement and soil cement replacement project. For the drainage project, LJA is working through the modeling updates and should be complete by the end of the year with the feasibility and alternatives to present to you guys. And then the vault, the lid has been received. We have 2 bids and quotes for contractors to install. And we're looking to get that contract out soon and hopefully have it installed in April. And then lastly, that was all I have for you guys today, actually. If you have any questions on that, let me know. And if there's anything in your packet that you might have questions on, I know we sent a lot of information this month, let us know.
Mhm. Let me look. I think I got them all covered. Yes, the next, I see all the whereas, which means the next on the agenda is the attorney's report. Thank you, Summer.
Nice to see y'all again. Brian apologizes. He's on spring break with his family.
Good.
So that's where he is this week. But I don't really have much to report to you. He wanted me to remind you that the Texas legislature is in session right now. AWBD has summarized a list of the bills that relate to MUDs and has posted it on their website. It's pretty lengthy, but he said as of now, it's too early on to really know what is viable and what isn't. We have 2 lobbyists from our office who are going back and forth to Austin. and are very plugged into all of this, and they will prepare a summary that will circulate to all of y'all later on in the process. But right now, if you wanted to kind of see what's out there, then we would point you to the list that is on the AWPD
Okay.
website.
And the AWBD is that mud advocacy board that we pay a fee to belong to, and so they do this kind of work. Do they get into groundwater rules? Are they out there? Are there any legislative things that have to do with
With the-
groundwater pumping?
Let me see, there's some that relate to annexation, some that relate to board meetings, some bond bills, some that just relate to general contracting, director qualifications, emergency preparedness,
Do you know if there are any that have to do with groundwater that maybe they're not covering? That's because I had heard there was supposed to be some kind of legislation where an adjoining groundwater control district could have a case against a neighboring GCD that wasn't responsibly extracting groundwater.
pumping it.
I
Yeah,
had heard that there was gonna be something like that.
I haven't heard of that specifically. We had an update last week where Diana Miller from our office, who's been back and forth to Austin, was updating us on some of them, and that one wasn't in that list, but
Mhm.
that's not to say that it isn't a possibility. But the AWBD list they put together kind of does group them together, which is helpful, but
Okay.
I'm not seeing one about groundwater pumpage.
Okay. When is the legislative session over with?
I believe in August.
Oh, wow. Okay. All righty. Next on the agenda, I should get a real agenda. I'm trying to be, not use the paper. And, next
You'll-
is used to a GM report.
All right, thank you. Good evening. Have a couple things to go over with you. As you probably know, Lone Star Groundwater Conservation District has appointed their new member. His name is Gary Gent and is a resident of Mud One as it's listed. Next item to cover is in your packet. There's towards the back, actually in the back. There is a couple reminders of some upcoming AWBD meetings that are coming up. One is the spring seminar, which is April 13th in the evening. Topic will be Texas housing trends. So that's something that you could sign up for. The other on the very back page is a reminder of the summer conference. If you've never been to the summer conference, this one will be in Corpus and it'll be June 22nd through the 24th. So often have some pretty good seminars on current events and things like that related to MUDs. So just a reminder, the early bird to register is cheaper. If you wait longer, it gets more expensive. So,
Okay, thank you.
sure. Couple items to report on from the trustee meeting. I think everybody is probably aware that the trustees did vote unanimously to approve the strategic plan. So many months of work to move that forward, and that was passed. An update on One Water Task Force. Last week, the township had a planning meeting to identify whether or not the task force was a good idea or people had some interest in resurrecting that. It was decided to take that to a vote to the township at their next meeting to see if there was enough interest to resurrect it, which it appeared that there was. So we'll be monitoring that and we'll be getting involved as soon as that kind of gets back up and running. A number of folks have kind of mentioned, well, if it does get up and running, there needs to be some specific focus on what direction it goes. So we'll be monitoring that and get involved as needed or whenever it gets ready. And lastly, I had an update. The Public Education Committee met last week to go over the quarterly communication plan, which I have. We also have some things in your packet just to kind of show this is really the first quarter update, and it kind of shows what the goals were and what some of the different messaging that was put out certain outlets, some digital, some in the paper print. So there's a lot of good information here that went out. The other thing that the PEC did meet on was really to, in light of the fact that the strategic plan was approved, one of the next steps is public outreach, and there's going to be probably a pretty significant public outreach campaign that's going to need to be developed. And so we'll be partnering with STRA to try to develop over the next year the communication plan or campaign for all of the infrastructure projects that will be coming down the pipe.
Cool. So that's page 69, that Public Education Committee thing. And I was looking at the communication goals at the top of that page and in those bullets. And I didn't see anything under their goals about educating residents about subsidence. And the reason I want to educate residents about subsidence is I just can't believe that Woodlands residents, when they go to vote, they vote unanimously for this slate of people who are literally sinking us and who are making our water bills higher. I don't believe it. It's a very red county, and we're paying lawsuits, and the GRP meetings are torture. Because of this situation, we don't have a groundwater pumping mandate. And I think when I think about what Woodlands residents aren't educated about, this one is big time. And I feel like I should take it on, this education, and I have. But the power of having everyone's email, and I'm not saying to campaign with our tax dollars at all. I'm just saying, why don't we educate our residents about what they keep voting for? They keep voting for this. And I think that the Public Education Committee is missing that. But I know Dr. Gaynor is interested in subsidence. And he's chairing that committee. But why isn't that out there? How can we expect change if we're just ignoring that? And it's wonderful that we're telling people about the work that SJRA does and what Woodlands Water does in general knowledge. But I don't see anything in there about educating them about what Lone Star is doing. If any of the Woodlands residents knew that Lone Star just appointed a man that is virtually the same as Simon Cicada, and what the significance of that is, that a private water company is now in charge of all of our groundwater that our homes are sitting on, is absolutely insane. And people will say, well, if we subside, the whole Woodlands sinks and nothing's going to flood. No, I can prove beyond the shadow of a doubt that we've got this bowl in the Woodlands that's sinking at a faster clip than the land around it because of the faults. And I can prove beyond the shadow of a doubt that that kind of groundwater extraction causes the faults to activate. And everyone that lives on a fault, is suffering the consequences, because we have taken a bigger groundwater take. So we're doing ourselves in, and it hasn't even gotten to how bad it is down in Creekside, because they're on 100% groundwater, and their extraction is affecting us, probably. So we're not even helping ourselves. So I think that the biggest opportunity for the Public Education Committee is to try to influence some change there. And I'm disappointed that they're not doing that. So I know this message is more for them. And maybe they'll listen to the Mud 47 meeting, because that's the only thing left on our agenda is that, the trustee report. And I'm sad the trustees aren't pursuing that. It's frustrating. So anything else we should put on the agenda for next month?
Well, I have one comment, and it kind of dovetails a little bit into what you were talking about. And that is that I was kind of ambushed, if you will, by some fine ladies at the Woodlands Country Club. That I'm not sure it was the Mahjong group or the Bridge Club group, but it was a big group of ladies. And they were like, hey, I didn't know you were on the board. And I was like, well, why? And turns out that letter we sent out had my name on it, and they actually read the letter. And then there was other ladies in there that one was from Mud One, and she goes, well, we didn't get a letter in our water bill, right? So my thinking is, in just having this captive audience, I was like, well, give me some feedback. And they would like, well, it's the first time that we ever heard from any of you people, and we would really like to hear more. And I was like, well, tell me a little bit more of what you'd like to hear about. So, I mean, they were throwing out things like wanting to know about water composition, what it's made out of, the rumblings going on that we're going to be spending more money because we got to build something else. And these are ladies that are just build something else. I mean, that's the level that we've got to be able to communicate them at. There is the things about the smart meters, and are there things they can do on vacation time to like tell their neighbors to like why? But I'm taking down a list of things, and it started me thinking, it's kind of like, well, is this not something that we as just little old Mud 47 can go forward and maybe quarterly or something, and then put together an education piece, if you will, that we can put into our water bills, because people are reading them. And it doesn't have to be like, well, this is the new board members, although if we do appoint a new board member, that's one more thing we could talk about. But to your point of, we need to start educating, it can be viral, because if these ladies talk and they read something and they're talking amongst their other lady friends who aren't in the same mud, and start to bring these issues up.
I do think, those
People
bullets,
read this stuff. I didn't really think that, but it's just kind of like, they didn't even know I was running, and I was like, well, gee, I think you and I knocked on just about every single door in Mud 47, but that's okay. They read enough to going, oh wait, I know who she is. And I'm like, I think we're already set. We're all spending the money to send stuff to them anyway. If they're going to read, let's just put a little insert in there and just a topic or two of just, here's what we're doing.
I do think, I see the emails that John Geiger sends out, and, they're hitting on a lot of these subjects, and this communication committee does have as their goal to expand general knowledge of water sources, the treatment and distribution, wastewater collection.
But I think that
All
people
of
were
those
just
are on
touched
their
by the
agenda.
fact that it came from us.
Mhm.
Just from Mud 47, that
Other MUDs are doing that too, aren't they? How many other MUDs are doing those communications? All of them?
Well, it couldn't be all of them, because the ladies that was in the room, somebody was like, well, I think she was in Mud 1. And she goes, my mud doesn't, I didn't get a letter.
There hasn't come out, and it's coming.
Okay.
We're gonna
Yes,
do it.
Would be very beneficial.
Lilac is sending, I talked to him and he said they're sending it
Okay.
out. He's Mud 1.
And we can confirm that there's a lot of residents that do not get a paper copy,
Yeah.
a paper bill, and so they're not getting it.
Right.
Unless the MUDs are deciding to do the e-blast as well. So some of the MUDs are doing both to hit as many as they can.
Yeah, it would be good. I haven't talked to anybody yet that.
And I mean, I wouldn't mind being a part of it, of if we need to get together and just kind of decide what it is, and work on the verbiage and education. I'm all for this, because this is why we're here, is to kind of let them know that, we're not operating in a star chamber someplace. Is that, and to your point, to educate them on, like in our Mud 47, we definitely have areas of subsidence, and let them know what that term is. And I mean, knowledge is power. But I was just blown away in the fact that people read, and it just wasn't, birdcage liner. It's like, oh, here's the bill and throw the rest out. Like, they knew what it said. I'm like, we've got something here, and I think we should capitalize it and move forward and make it personalized as just from us, about us.
I think we should put something else out,
Yeah.
because I've had people, they had no idea what the mud did, what it was
Yeah.
about, nothing.
And here we're going forward with a strategic plan. Now is the time to like plant some little seeds, what the needs are coming up. Because we're gonna get a backlash of, oh, my water bill's going up, or my mud bill at the end of the year is outrageous. Now,
Well, that's
This is-
all be part of the campaign.
Yeah,
Everything you're
Right.
describing.
yeah. So this campaign that as outlined, what is the page there? Bottom 69, page 69.
Well, what I
Yes,
was
there.
describing earlier is different than this.
Okay.
It's in addition to this. This is what the PEC came out with as their strategic communication plan, and it's a quarterly plan where each quarter there's a different topic. And so that's what we're systematically going through right now. But what this is going to have to be enhanced by is a much larger campaign to educate the
Yeah.
community about
because this is a lot
the
of fluff
results
in
of the
here.
strategic.
We got
plan.
pretty pictures. I mean, it's pretty, but it's not the meat that I think people are looking for. People are hungry for knowledge, what's going on around here. So, especially because a lot of them don't trust the news. It's like, trust that it's coming directly from us and not hearsay.
Right. Well, maybe we all should go to a public education committee and let them know what we think. When are those before trustee?
When are they?
Or before the trustee meeting?
I don't know that we have another one on the calendar yet.
Not yet.
No.
No, they generally meet somewhere before the trustee meeting. Day or so before, or
Okay. Well. What I guess it is neat and a good idea for us to communicate as an individual board, and it's especially neat to do that when we have a different news story than all of the MUDs. But if we all have the same message, we should do it as one, in my view. So, what are the things that make MUD 47 unique? I think obviously, we will be sending out a note to say we have a vacancy on the board, and then congratulations to, Joe Blow that won an appointment. We will have those unique messages, and I think it's appropriate for us to communicate that and otherwise be a part of the whole and communicating all of this other stuff. But I just definitely see a void of telling residents about the greater water resource issue, that there are two sources of water, groundwater and surface water, and we're not really using the surface water one. We're driving to Dallas in first gear on the surface water side. So anyway.
If we start here,
Yeah.
it'll catch on.
Yep. Okay.
Before you adjourn, I think I found the bill that you were asking about.
Yeah.
It wasn't in the AWBD list, but it's House Bill number 3820. So it was filed last week.
Who wrote it? Is that a part of
It is Rep. Oliverson.
Oliverson, Oliverson?
Oliverson.
Well pronounced.
On behalf of the North Harris County Regional Water Authority.
Okay.
And so it has a few purposes, but one of them is to remove the authority from the boundaries of the Harris Galveston Subsidence District, so that they don't have to comply with those requirements anymore.
Interesting.
I know
people that,
so we don't represent the North Authority, but we listen into their meetings usually, because we do have a few other authorities that we represent, just to kind of know what's going on. And they lowered their fee by 50 cents like last month.
oh yeah, I saw.
Which was the first time an authority has lowered their fee. But that was what the 3 new people who got on the board had campaigned, that they would lower it by $1. But they started off with 50 cents, which was shocking to all the other authorities, because they have all these debt obligations that they have to pay. But their financial advisor did come around and said that they could do the 50 cent decrease, but I think that ultimately their goal is to, it sounds like this is what they're trying to do, is to get out of the subsidence district.
Wow.
So is it just a House? Is there nobody in the Senate that is running alongside of this with the
So
Senate bill?
I see that this was filed last week, so right now it's just called.
Just on the House bill.
382.
Okay.
But see, I guess, we can definitely update y'all next month, on this one's progress and
Mhm.
if there's any.
And isn't Brandon Crichton, is he a senator?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's a state
I could
senator.
I could see him having a companion bill since he made Lone Star elected. It'd be just the thing for them to do.
But having a companion bill, it makes things flow through a lot easier in Congress than just having a House bill alone. That's why I'd like, who else is alongside him to
Yeah.
do this? Because otherwise it'll get stuck.
Yeah, and maybe something will pop up. This was,
It sounds like this is
Sometime
one we
last
want to have
Yeah.
get stuck. I mean,
Thursday.
if we just let the Woodlands hold the bag on the plant, that's this kind of the same thing. I hope it gets stuck. I hope it goes sideways. This is frustrating. People just don't know about what's going on. And the state of Texas is behind all those bonds to build the plant, and we're only running at a third of its potential. And no one cares about that. I've kind of given my life over to this, and I just can't believe that it's 2023 and we are still, I think, John, yours, he won, but yeah, he only won by a few percentage points. There are that many people still that would actually vote for the slate that's in office right now in the Woodlands. And that just blows my mind. They're voting against their self-interest. They're voting for higher water bills. They're voting to flood. I mean, we've got this $12 million project going on at Bear Branch, but 30, 40 years down the road, it'll sink again, and we'll have to spend some more money doing flood control there again. It's a bowl. So anyway, I hope that bill fails, but I bet Brandon Crichton gets on board with it. And we're going to vote for Brandon Crichton again. I won't, but my popularity is waning. Anyway, enough of that.
Well, that's one that
We
I'm
don't
sure
really know.
my firm will be tracking this bill.
Okay.
And they're also looking at the others too, but we'll keep you updated.
Okay. All right. Anything else? Anything to put on the agenda next month?
No, I think we're good.
Adjourned.
Yep. Thank you.